Welcome back, Hare Krishna. Let's talk more about the nothing box and the consequences. And we can probably already imagine what's going on. We talk about the first vicious cycle. And maybe even about the first self-fulfilling prophecy. We'll see. But we can probably mention that already. Excuse me. So, what happens? What does a man need when he comes home? He needs to have a shower, depending on the work maybe. He has his routine, and this routine is ultimately centered around the nothing box. As a devotee, obviously, we won't have that nothing box time very short. Maybe have some sadhana. Some little ritual, 15 minutes, half an hour, something like that, every day, and he will be sweet. But often enough, a man doesn't get that when he comes home. Because the wife doesn't understand that nothing box. And he comes home, and when he still has the shoes on, when he's still, in the door, sometimes even outside, the wife is glad, happy that he's finally home, and the children maybe as well, and so on. And immediately he's engaged somehow. He doesn't get the time. And especially in the beginning of a relationship, because we need the inspiration we receive through the women, through the wife. It's a source of energy. We feeding on female energy, basically. We don't mind. Because our batteries are full. Our batteries are charged, nearly. And it doesn't matter. So, in the beginning, we don't notice how slowly and steadily our energy is depleting, our energy levels. But sooner or later we feel something, and then we kind of make ourselves a little bit, we feel ourselves a little bit, we just need some little space. But that hasn't been there before, right? The lady is not used to that. The wife isn't used to that. Suddenly you need space. Some insecurity creeps in. Why is that? Does he not, did I do something wrong? Did something happen? Maybe someone else is in his mind, whatever. Why does he not want to spend time with me? No, that has nothing to do with the lady. It has nothing to do with the wife. It's simply his need for recharging time. His need for that nothing box time. Which keeps his batteries charged. Like we mentioned before, the lower the charge, the longer it takes to recharge. And the lower the battery is, the stronger is that urge to recharge. If the battery is near empty, the man can become obsessed with, I want to recharge, I just want time for myself. And then say situations where the wife needs support to talk, his batteries are empty, and he's just simply thinking, I need time for myself, I just need to recharge, and I need to switch off, like that. And the wife needs support, and what does he do? He quickly tries to, find a solution. Okay, no, Prabhu, I feel like this and I feel like that. I'll just do that. And the wife feels like brushed aside. But his need is nothing box time. His, to be, how to say it? We need that as a man for us to function. To function clearly. The same way the lady needs to talk about things, So she continues to function. It's really like that, right? So when we're too stressed as a man and the batteries are not charged, right? Then we become more and more dysfunctional. Similarly, when a lady doesn't feel cared for, when the husband doesn't give her the quality time she needs to talk about things and process it all and so on, she also becomes more and more dysfunctional. And the important thing here to understand is to solve that problem, we have to understand the needs of the other person. Right? But let's just continue this dysfunctional situation. He becomes more and more dysfunctional. Then she worries, does he still care about me? Of course he does. Right? It has nothing to do with her. And that's something it's hard for women to understand, because everything is connected with everything for a lady. Especially ladies just concerned about relationships, to continuously analyze relationships. Men are different in that regard. We talk about that later. Men are into achieving goals, into plans, ideas, achievements. That's where men invest their energy in. Women and into relationships, men in achievements. Okay? But anyway, so then there's this worry. Does he still care about me? And then of course, sooner or later that becomes a topic she needs to talk about with him. All the while he's scraping the last energy reserves, and only wants to plug in, nothing box. And then there comes the wife, do you still care about me? And where does that come from? Of course I do. Right? But that doesn't sound very convincing. And on it goes. It can go on for months and years. And we can already see all those arguments. You still care about me, this and that. And then the only thing he needs is time for the nothing box. Right? And the less time he gets, the less time he gets, the more he needs it, the less he has an ear for her concerns. The more she thinks he doesn't care, the more she thinks he doesn't love her anymore, the more she thinks whatever she thinks, but it has nothing to do with the guy's reality. The guy's reality is just space. It's so hard to understand. And the women think, I just need someone to talk to. Is that so hard to understand? Right? So there can be a whole argument, there can be whole relationship issues, conflicts, for no reason at all, except our ignorance about those two different needs, specifically that nothing box. Right? Now let's put children into the situation. Say they are children. They want quality time as well, right? They're happy when daddy comes home. So the lady doesn't understand the nothing box of the man. So how should the children know? No one is teaching the children. Oh, when daddy comes home, just let him be for a moment and then you can play with him. But he needs that few minutes, let him have a shower, let him relax on the couch for a moment. Yeah. That's not there. And when the batteries are empty for the guy, he needs to recharge. So he will be also a little bit like that with the children, trying to, here have some little time, but then kind of, they will feel brushed aside because he is dysfunctional. So that affects the relationship with the children. The children think, father doesn't care about us. Daddy has more important things to do. I'm not important to my father. Right? So the relationship with children is affected. Instead of socializing on the weekends, he will be going into his cave. Rather, he's trying to find some space for himself, right? So his social life will suffer. The man's social life will suffer. He just wants to recharge, right? There are festivals at the temple. There are service opportunities. Will he take them? Those opportunities? Will he eagerly go there and help serving in the outreach? Will he serve in the deity department? Will he serve as a cook and so on? No, he will not. Because why? He needs some space, some time for himself. And if he doesn't get that, he will more and more retreat, becoming a caveman ultimately. There are other factors for the caveman. the man's cave, right? But that's the automatic consequence, simply because he needs that time. And like we said, with if you have an electric car with a huge battery and a good range, right, on a normal household plug, it takes a couple of days if that battery is empty to be fully recharged. Okay. So for a man, when he is empty, it just doesn't take half an hour anymore. It doesn't take a day anymore or a week. It can take months. So we don't want to get to that point where the guy is completely depleted, dysfunctional. Because when he's depleted, dysfunctional, what do you expect? Will he be eager to talk? Will he be eager to hear? Will he be even be able to take care of his wife in that way? It will not work. And again, it has nothing to do. His reaction has originally nothing to do with the wife. But when he then feels over months and years, oh, they used to care about me, and he was always caring. From that vicious cycle that instead of giving each other then what they need, okay, the husband needs the time in the nothing box, and then in return he can give his ear to the wife and talk with her, and they're both legitimate needs, right? What can happen is that he recognizes, or that he understands at one stage that, well, what is the reason I don't get space? And then the wife comes and, oh, you still care about me? Well, then he figures out the reason. And what happens then is that vicious cycle went on so long that it turned into a self-fulfilling prophecy. And he actually doesn't care about her anymore. And that whole situation can be completely avoided. It's unnecessary. When we look into our lives, into all the arguments we may have, into the misunderstandings we had, into the conflicts we have in our relationships, well, when we look at that, well, as soberly as possible, might that nothing box just be the cause of it all? That ignorance about that very simple basic need? We can just see how much, and I'm sure it's at least 50% or even up to 80%, especially with the next few issues we're going to discuss. So much time is unnecessarily wasted. So much energy is unnecessarily wasted. Instead of recharging, it suddenly sucks and drains out energy, that whole situation. Right? The wife suffers, the husband suffers, the children suffer, the friendships suffer, devotional service suffers, for no good reason at all. Right? So that's the vicious cycle which happens very often in relationships, in marriages. That little misunderstanding, that little ignorance about how we deal with stress, about that nothing box. And it can be so easily avoided. You just have to understand it. Right? And it's important to understand this whole presentation is not about blaming anyone. We cannot blame anyone for ignorance. We just don't know. Fair enough. It's about understanding the situation which is going on in so many marriages, in so many relationships. That's what it's about. This whole thing is not about shifting blame to someone. It's because the wife doesn't understand his nothing box. No, he doesn't understand his nothing box either. Yeah? We are unconscious about that as well. It's So it's good to have this construct of nothing box to communicate. Because we don't know it as men either until we're married. And then sooner, and as women know, men are very slow to notice things. It can take us years to figure out, wow, something isn't quite right. What is it? And we may not even get to the bottom of it. And a simple thing like a nothing box nothing box, such a simple principle. When we hear about it, when we understand it, we can notice it in ourselves. That's what it is. Finally I get it. Even as a man. So the men are as ignorant about their own nothing box as women are. So then there's no one to blame. It's not the wife's fault. It's not the guy's fault. It's just that's the situation. Let's deal with it and move forward. Right? And I just want to give that example next. A positive example. How it can look like. And again, there will be a little, how to say, we will find easily how again another misunderstanding can come up here. So let's digest that a little bit. Let's look into our own relationship, in our own marriage, and as honestly and detached as possible, and see, is that maybe the root cause of so many of our arguments? That simple thing. And it's easily to resolve. Right? We have so many issues, so many conflicts, and we don't even know where they come from. Now, this could be the root of 50 to 80% of our relationship issues. And how easily is that resolved? That's what I will present next time. So I'll leave you with a little bit of food for thought, a little bit to digest here, and then we'll meet again soon. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.